Hi lollipops! Because it's Easter, today we are going to read My Little Easter Story. So let's turn the page and see how it starts. Long ago in Galilee lived a man named Jesus. He told people how to live as friends of God. Do for others what you want them to do for you, he told them. So here's Jesus. Love one another, even those who are unkind to you. Forgive others, and God will forgive you. So here's Jesus teaching all of his followers. One day, Jesus left Galilee for the city of Jerusalem. We will go there for the great festival of Passover, he told his 12 disciples. When the crowd saw Jesus, they began to cheer and wave palm branches. So here they're waving their branches. Others began to mutter. Who do they think Jesus is, they grumbled. The next king? How very wrong. See, they're not happy. Jesus went to the temple in Jerusalem. The festival market was noisy. The prices were ridiculous. Stop at once, cried Jesus. The temple is a place to say prayers. It's not meant for all this cheating. He tipped up the stalls and chased everyone out. Look at him, he's pushed over all of the tables and he's told everybody to leave. Jesus' enemies began to whisper among themselves. Everything we've worried about is true. Jesus is a troublemaker. How can we get rid of him? So many people think he's wonderful. Then one of Jesus' disciples came to see them in secret. I can tell you how to catch him, said Judas, if you pay me. So here's Judas visiting Jesus' critics. Jesus knew about this, but he didn't say. He simply asked his disciples to prepare the festival meal. At the table, he took a loaf of bread and broke it into 12 pieces for all of his disciples. My body will be broken like this, he said. He poured wine from the jug. My blood will pour out like this, he said. When that happens, you will know for sure that God is making a new promise to all the world. The disciples looked puzzled. Judas slipped away. Jesus and 11 disciples went to an olive grove called Gethsemane to sleep under the stars. Jesus stayed awake and said prayers to God. He knew what was going to happen. Here he is praying. Judas arrived with the soldiers. They marched Jesus away. The priest in charge of the temple had gathered Jesus' enemies together. First, they snarled, you teach all kinds of nonsense. Worse, you let people believe you are God's chosen king. That's what you say, replied Jesus. We say you're a troublemaker, they replied. The next morning was Friday. Jesus' enemies went to the governor, Pontius Pilate. They told him that Jesus was a rebel. So here they are telling the governor. Pilate told his soldiers to put Jesus to death. They loaded a wooden cross onto his shoulders. On a hill outside of Jerusalem, they nailed him to a cross. Jesus said a prayer for all of his enemies. Father God, forgive them, he said. Under a dark sky, Jesus died. 2 friends came and took his body and they laid it inside a tomb. They rolled the stone door shut just as the sun was setting. The weekly day of rest was beginning. They could do nothing until Sunday. On the Sunday morning, some women went back to the tomb. They wanted to say a proper goodbye. To their amazement, the stone door was open. The tomb was empty. There was nothing inside. But two angels were there. Jesus is not here, they said. He's alive. God's new promise is coming true. Soon, Jesus' friends and disciples were saying the same thing. We have seen Jesus. God has raised him to life. Jesus spoke to them, explaining all that had happened. Soon, I must go to my Father, God in heaven, he said. Tell everyone the news I told you. Love one another, forgive one another. Then you will all be God's friends forever in God's everlasting kingdom. With God's help, that is what Jesus' friends did, and the news is still spreading. And that was the Easter story. Thank you for reading with me.